Hello people, Austin50 here, and I haven't made a video for about 3 weeks simply because I've been on a very noble journey. Yes, I've been playing a game called The Lies of P, and for those of you which have never heard of this game, it's a Souls-like game, similar to Dark Souls and stuff like that, and Sekiro and all that, but the difference is, I've never actually completed a Souls-like game before, and I've never even completed a game like Dark Souls or Sekiro. I tried playing Dark Souls 1, the remastered version, when it first came out, and I sucked as soon as the game was released. As soon as the game started, I sucked at it, and I rage quit. I rage quit this game because it was so fucking annoying. But because I'm like a hardcore gamer kind of person, I knew that at some point in my life I was going to need to actually complete a Souls-like game just to solidify my name in the gaming world, you know? And through, some nice pressure, I was told I could actually do these games. It just requires patience. And believe me, it requires a lot of fucking patience. Because this game, The Lies of P, is borderline bullshit. Now, this game, I've actually uninstalled it around 3 times simply because I couldn't even get past the first elite enemy, which is pretty early in the game, within the first 5-10 minutes in the game. So yeah, absolutely ridiculous at some points, but hey, I've actually managed to complete the game. I've put 65 hours into this game. I've put around just under a month into this game, and I've done reasonably good to complete the game in this short space of time. Now then, this game is extremely difficult. Like most Souls games, you can't even pause the fucking game, and there's a lot of enemies that just jump out and kill you, and there's a lot of rage quitting which is going to be involved within playing this game. But I do heavily encourage everyone to play this game. My main trouble in the game is because I cannot perfect parry for shit. So basically, when you are fighting enemies, they will flash red, and then you need to perfect parry. I'm crap at perfect parrying. I'm kind of decent at dodging, but dodging uses quite a lot of stamina, so, you need to kind of learn your perfect parries. Plus, you need to build up your guard retention. That would usually help as well. Okay, so spoiler alert, I'm going to talk about the storyline now, so if you don't want to hear any more about this, I would just subscribe to my page, of course, and then click off this video and play the game for yourself. This game is on the Game Pass, and it's been on the Game Pass, I believe, since September last year, and I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon, so at any moment with an Xbox Game Pass, play this game. Also, if you have never actually played a Souls game before, and you don't actually want to pay any money for a Souls game, because you might think the Souls games, like, kind of suck, then you can play this game on your Game Pass and get a nice feel for what these games are actually like, which I have just done. Okay, storyline time. So basically, you're moving. The game starts off, and well, before the game starts off, there's this thing called the puppet frenzy, where the puppets have kind of gone past their commands, which are to serve humans, and they can't hurt humans, and now they're hurting humans. Excuse me. So, and there's also another thing going on. There's some other shit going on called the petrification disease, which is kind of giving humans, grayscale, like of the Game of Thrones, turning people into stone pretty much with horrible scales all over them and all that shit. Storyline doesn't make much sense, but in this game you probably need to look up the storyline on YouTube or something like that, simply because it doesn't really give you much to go off on the story, to be honest. But anyway, so all that shit's going on. So basically, your character and what the main ingredient that powers all the puppets. And by the way, people, puppets in this game are like AI. They're like walking robots, to be honest, and they do like human things, to help humans. And basically, what our future is going to be like, possibly with AI, it's like this with puppets. And what powers the puppets is a thing called Ergo. Now, this Ergo, I believe, is like the souls in Souls games. So these Ergo, you use Ergo to level up and do all that stuff, and Ergo powers the puppet. So every time you kill a puppet, you get Ergo. But also, the Ergo is the main reason which is causing humans to mutate and turn into stone with the petrification disease. And you have these factions called the Alchemists, which are trying to cure the petrification disease, but I think it turns out they're fucking people over anyway. And yeah, so that's it. That's the backstory. So anyway, your character eventually wakes up. He's in a train. He's in like this chair. Your character, which I believe to be Pinocchio, but they never actually call him Pinocchio. They just call him P. There might be a reason for that. So anyway, he wakes up because Sophia, the Blue Fairy, And now we have people from the Pinocchio film, books, whatever. But seeing as it's like an alternative reality, they're in the game, but they're not exactly the same characters, if you will. So Sophia is technically the Blue Fairy, and you have like this glowing thing called Gemini, which I believe is meant to be Jiminy Cricket, and all that shit. Okay, so basically when you start the game, you get to pick three classes. Three classes! You can have a Way of the Puppet, Way of the Bastard, Way of the Sweeper. The Way of the Sweeper is the Great Sword, heavy attack. Way of the Bastard is you have like a rapier, whatever. You stab, dexterity build. And then the Way of the Puppet is a mix of both. It's like a cutlass kind of thing he has. I don't fucking know. Basically, he has heavy attacks and fast attacks. It's like the middle. I mean, I went for Path of the Sweeper at first because I had the Great Sword build, but then when I got slightly into the game, I realised this was a terrible choice for myself. So, and I just kind of leveled up my dexterity for the rest of the game. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, so it's an extremely good game. So basically, you go to this place called Hotel Krat. This is the hotel. This is like your main base, if you will. And then you meet Antonia, it's basically just the base where the shop is and all that shit is. The last safe place in Krat is the place where, you know, all this is happening. Or whatever. Okay, so yeah. So you go to Hotel Krat, Geppetto isn't there. You're looking for Geppetto, and then you're just looking around for him, and then all of a sudden you find Geppetto while you're in your travels. Not to mention, before you find Geppetto and go to Hotel Krat, you fight a massive fucking boss called the Parade Master, which is like some kind of gigantic fucking clown, and he will waste you 1,000 times. Because he's super difficult, but then you've just got to get a tactic down where you can duck under his arm when he swings. But you've got to understand, people have never played a Souls game before, so I didn't realise you could physically dodge underneath the massive arm, or whatever. So anyway, you get to the hotel, and then your main objective at the minute is to find Geppetto, you know, because he might know what's going on. So anyway, you travel around a bit, you know, you find this guy called the Mad Donkey that's after ripping Geppetto's fucking head off, because Geppetto did, and more than likely caused Puppet Frenzy, and it turned out he did anyway. So Geppetto kind of did deserve to die, the motherfucker. Okay, so we've rescued Geppetto, we're back at the hotel. You talk to Geppetto for a bit, he doesn't really tell you much because he's an idiot. And then you save Venini next because you need to stop the puppet frenzy. And there's this like massive puppet which doesn't look anything like a puppet called Foucault or something like that. It's like a fire breathing fucking flame throwing boss or whatever. So then you save Lorenzini, Venini, and then he's the guy that sorts out your Legion arms. And your Legion arms, I believe, are like the armies of Kiro, which are like additional weapons or something on the side. The game's extremely linear, to be fair. There's not really any open world exploration. I wouldn't go into this game expecting any open world exploration because you're not going to get it. Granted, if where you're supposed to turn left and then you turn right, you might find something and that's about it, but it's not really open world. The game's set up into chapters with a linear storyline, and the storyline never really explains itself. But the thing is, the bosses are actually extremely good. I really did enjoy fighting the bosses. I mean, I haven't finished explaining the storyline, to be fair, because it's extremely that linear. It's kind of ridiculous. So basically, the leader of the puppets at the minute is the Puppet King. Or King of Puppets, whatever. So you defeat the King of Puppets, then you find out the alchemists are behind everything. So then you go after the alchemist, basically. And then you find out the leader of the alchemists is a guy called Simon Manus. Then you kill him, and that's it. You've stopped the petrification disease, and then you've stopped the puppet frenzy. The storyline's extremely linear. I can't really explain it any differently, but I mean, I could explain it in more depth, but I don't see the point, because you might as well just play the game. And, you know, I don't really want to talk about the full story, because I'd have to go into the little nitty-gritty parts, which I don't really want to go into. So basically, you just fight a fuckload of bosses, and then it's just a linear storyline. But it's extremely good if you've never played a Souls game before. I would highly recommend this game, simply because it's on the Game Pass. For now, I wouldn't pay real money for it, though, unless you're used to the Souls games and you want something different. I heavily would not recommend paying for it, because I believe it's like 40-50 bucks on Steam, and I think it's around the same on the Xbox or PlayStation or whatever. It's something like that. So you might as well play it on the Game Pass if you have the Game Pass. Okay, so it turns out at the end of the game anyway, Geppetto is a bit of a prick. Geppetto, well, your character, the puppet, basically Geppetto wanted to revive his son, Carlo. So he tried to make his son, bring his son back to life. but he couldn't, because when he put Pinocchio's heart into the puppet went berserk or something like that. So Geppetto needed to put the heart into P, or Pinocchio, who you're moving, and as you travel through the game, every time you level up and stuff like this, P regains his memories going through all this, and then Geppetto's main plan was to take the heart out of P and put it into this puppet called the Nameless Puppet. Now, this Nameless Puppet is pretty fucked up. It's like a human zombie slash puppet. And seeing as we killed the alchemists, we managed to get this item called the Arm of God, which would have revived his son with a mechanical heart. So you have an ending where you can give Geppetto your heart, and then you die, and he brings his son back to life, and then he kills everybody anyway, then replaces him with puppets because he's an insane madman. Or you could tell Geppetto to pretty much go fuck himself, and then Geppetto takes his glove off, puts his other glove on, and goes shh, and then puppet strings are coming from his hand, and then he's controlling that berserk puppet he wanted to reanimate. And that is the last boss, optional boss. You don't have to fight this boss. You can give Geppetto your heart, and this boss is that difficult. Even when you keep losing, you go to the nearest Stargazer, which is like a camp, and you have the option to give Geppetto your heart, because this boss is so goddamn fucking hard. If you get fed up, you can just give up and kill yourself and give Geppetto your heart. I mean, I actually managed to kill this boss, the nameless puppet, should I say, after my like 50th fucking try. It only took me 3 days. But yeah, with most bosses, you get a thing called, it's like a summon. They call it a specter, where you can collect these star fragments, you crush them, you put them in this fountain, and then you will get one summon per big boss fight. For most of the bosses, for like 90% of the bosses. So only 1 or 2 this doesn't work for. Obviously, this doesn't work for the mini bosses, for example. You have mini bosses in the game and elite enemies, you can't summon a spectre for them. But because in this game there's not really any magic or anything like that, and your character can't really have guns unless you get the Gun Legion arm, or anything at all, it's kind of basic. You can obviously use summons, which I believe you can do in Dark Souls games and Elden Ring. I believe you can use summons in them games, you can't in this game, but you do get to summon one spectre. But you don't get to make a summon for this final boss. You have to use like fucking wits alone. And I only managed to beat this boss out of luck because I literally just changed my build and then went into the fight expecting to die. And probably because I went into the fight expecting to die, I was that relaxed. I actually managed to beat the boss, which was extremely strange, to be honest. Because I've been grinding for ages, and then this one time I wasn't even trying, I beat the boss. I'm going to call that blind luck, mixed with a tiny bit of probably subconscious skill from the moveset. I don't know. So this game's good. There's 3 endings, but 2 of the endings are pretty much identical, to be fair. I kind of fucked my ending up, but whatever. So yeah, it is a really good game. It's definitely something I would implore people to try, especially if you have the Game Pass. Just give it a go. You know, you're gonna die. Like I said, I was told, a friend at work told me, like, with games like this, you need to go into the mindset that you're actually going to get destroyed. If you go into the mindset thinking, well, basically, if you're an egotistical, I don't know, arrogant person, which is the greatest game on the planet in your own head, which I thought I was. So I'm not slagging anybody off, I'm insulting myself as well. So I thought I was amazing at games, and when I came to this game and I was getting destroyed within the first 5 minutes, I'm like, what the fuck? This game's bullshit. It's not even fair. It's not even fair, this game. Correction. The game is fair because it's a difficult game, but you've got to think with these games, the game gives you all the tools you need to do the game. You just have to make it happen. It's a game you're not going to get spoon-fed for, you know. There's not many tutorials. You've just got to play the game, die, and learn. This game is a game which will force humanity to evolve because it's like challenging. I feel like my human evolution's like evolved. My hand-eye coordination skills must be better. I've literally leveled up. I've got some magic powers now. So yeah, no, the game isn't bullshit. None of these games are bullshit. This is the first game I've played which is like this. And I did think at times it's bullshit and I was tempted to quit, but I carried on anyway. I was persistent. I needed to do this game. And I needed to get the achievement to prove to people who I know that I can actually do this game. And it turns out I could do it all along. There was no point doubting myself. But now it's made me more of a humble gamer because I know how difficult these games actually are now. So obviously for now I'm just playing a different game. But I'm going to be getting a gift card or something at the end of this month. And I think I'm going to be buying the Dark Souls trilogy. I'm probably going to buy Elden Ring as well. So they should be fun. I've heard they're just as challenging, but I heard they're more open world, so there's probably more fun in that game, in them games. But hey, I don't mind spending a gift voucher on these games though. You know. Anyway, this has been a good review. If you like the video, please hit subscribe, because I've only got 8 subscribers. I did have 9, but I somehow have managed to lose one. Right, also 50 out.